To the work session for the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's June 5th, and we will begin with a parental family leave proposal for county employees. And E has left the room.
Yeah, she's looking for, because Molly was in a webinar. She sent me a text and she said, let me know when it starts. So
okay,
she's
great.
On her way.
Can you, should we just go ahead and hear from Ms. Crecelius?
Yeah, that'd probably be the easiest.
Let's go ahead to the second item. Sorry, Ms. Crecelius, surprise. You're ready, I know you are. Hello, thank you. Thanks for being flexible.
Yeah, of course. Can everybody see my share screen?
We sure can, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this is for an amendment to the Westgate on 3rd Plan Unit Development Plan. So an amendment, it's the first amendment to their outline plan. This is the multifamily property located at 4755 West State Road 48. So this was approved back in, let's see, 2020. So let me run. So I will be flipping through the report. Just a quick reminder, so the property, the PUD rezoned 37.9 acres to allow for 330 rental homes with 3 different styles. It also includes 11,000 square feet of retail and business uses and 22,000 square feet of office and business uses with a variety of amenities for renters, such as a dog park, walking trail. The site features a large karst, which is protected as a park area. So let me go through. So there are 3 proposed changes to the outline plan. And so the existing ordinance you can find as a link under Exhibit 1 within the packet. So our ordinance lists 2 exhibits, so Exhibit A, which is the staff report, and Exhibit B, which is then the updated ordinance with all the proposed changes. So the first change is to define a construction phasing plan. So during the original PUD creation, we did communicate with the petitioner at that time, which was had a different representative, which is not necessarily with the actual contracting and development company that we're working with now. And they had created a single phase PUD, which means that they would have to complete, before receiving a certificate of occupancy for any building on site, which would be there's approximately 18 buildings on site, that all structures, all public improvements would have to be completed. So they would not get that certificate of occupancy until they received a land use certificate from planning. So for such a large development, we prefer to see a phasing plan. So they are defining that under this amendment. So they're proposing an 8-phase plan for construction, which would allow different areas and different structures and different public improvements to be completed at different times. So, for example, their first phase, they would be completing their clubhouse, a few different built residential buildings, an adjacent bioretention pond, and adjacent sidewalks. They'd be able to get a land use certificate for that and get their certificate of occupancies while still developing the rest of the site. This proposed phasing plan has been reviewed and edited by Stormwater Department, who will be very heavily involved with reviewing the bioretention on the site. So there's quite a few different ponds. So they've provided input. It's been updated, and so from what we can tell, everybody's happy with it so far. So that is listed as Exhibit 3, which would be on page 27 of your packet. The second change, proposed amendment, is for the removal of 11 covered parking structures. So currently, it's not quite a removal. It's really more of a conversion. So they had quite a few proposed covered parking structures proposed in sections B and C of the original development plan. So this would be for multifamily and 2-story home style housing those two types of housing have attached garages, and then they also had these detached covered parking structures. So the majority of the buildings 4 through 17, all have attached garages, and then there was also adjacent covered parking. So they're proposing to convert 78 of those spaces, so that's 11 of the detached garages, and they want to propose that to removing the garages and allowing those spaces just to be uncovered surface parking. The parking numbers do not, they tweak a little bit, but they all meet the requirements that they've laid out under their original PUD outline plan. So they still have, they're still meeting their own requirements that they've created. So this amendment, if approved, it would, there would be 6 detached garages approximate to the buildings 11 through 16. The third request is the replacement of a community garden with pickleball courts and outdoor fitness equipment. So the original ordinance had pretty specific language that there would be a community garden as one of their amenities, and just based on their feedback with other communities that they've developed and managed, that they think that pickleball courts and outdoor fitness exercise equipment would be better suited, that the community gardens can sometimes pivot towards maybe not being fully leased or fully taken care of and not necessarily upkept. I'd like to note in here that the original petition request did include a 4th point that they were proposing to be amending, which was removing elevators from 3 of the buildings on the northern side of the PUD. They have chosen to withdraw requesting this at this point. They are reconsidering how they're using the approved commercial space, that office space, and retail space that's at the northern portion of the property, which would be in those 3 buildings that have elevators. So they believe that they're going to be bringing forth another outline plan amendment that will address their elevator concerns and possibly that commercial space. Okay. So that pretty well covers the outline plan amendment request. It is fairly straightforward. We have no outstanding comments from Stormwater or Highway, and departments are in support of this. So planning staff is recommending a positive recommendation to the commissioners for this PUD outline plan amendment. So the updated ordinance as is listed in Exhibit B, which is where the red line version has been fully accepted. So that does include changes to the amenities, the parking, and includes the new phasing plan and also the phasing narration, which is Exhibit 1 within the staff report, which outlines exactly what will be completed when. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Crecelius. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
This will sound a bit unexpected probably. Sometimes pickleball is played on tennis courts so that they can be used interchangeably relatively. I know you have to define where the outlines are and you have to change the height of the net, but will these be solely pickleball courts or could they also be used as tennis courts?
I haven't seen any language about them being able to convert to tennis, but I can ask the petitioner, Ryan Huffman, and have that an answer for you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes, to follow along the same line of questioning, and you may not know this either, does the pickleball court, assuming it is only a pickleball court, have a paved surface? And if it does, then it disturbs me a little bit to be giving up a community garden for paving. That's undesirable in a number of different ways.
Yeah. And that's a question that can be posed to, again, the petitioner. I'm also really sad that the community gardens are off the table, and they base that on other, other apartments that have created these elsewhere. I'd really like to think that it could be something that could be tried, and then, but I know that there's an expense with doing one and then changing to the other. So it is too bad. The good news is that there will be a community garden at the Van Buren Township office, which is going to be right up the street. So that's a good thing. And I will just note that there were some issues. So the issue with the elevator, there were some concerns raised about losing accessibility for residents. And one of the things that, and we're going to see this in the future, this is not part of this petition, but the petitioner talked about having, instead of putting retail on the first floor, having apartments, accessible apartments on the first floor, and then not needing an elevator. So in a sense, they're trying to cut their costs, which get passed on, but the accessibility issue was raised, and that's why that was withdrawn, and that's what they're working towards. So just so you all know.
Certain accessibility apartments, though, need special things built into them, too, in terms of wider doorways, in terms of other things.
Right.
So.
Right. I don't have any other questions. Do you all want to hear this on the 26th or at the first meeting in July? Do you have a preference?
I'm fine with the 26th.
I'm okay with that also.
Okay. So can you bring this back on June 26th for us?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. All right. E and Ms. Turner-King for the other item on parental and family leave, please. Thank you.
Hello. So we wanted to provide the commissioners a quick update on something that myself, E, and Ms. Purdy have been working on. We have a draft policy for paid parental leave that we would like to, I'm going to send it after the meeting to the commissioners, and we can talk about it later. But the highlights of said policy would be that it would allow employees to take 6 weeks of paid parental leave at 100% of their salary at least twice during their career with the county government. And also included is the option for employees to take 6 weeks of paid family leave, so to care for a spouse or a parent or a child with a serious medical condition. And if you take the paid family leave, it would also be at 6 weeks, 100% salary. So we want to provide the commissioners the policy, and then we will present to the council for financial support.
Awesome. That's great news. Thank you.
I'm going to jump up and down. I'm so excited.
My gosh.
Well, these are things, I think it makes us much more competitive as an employer. And I think it's how we show our support for families.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Commissioner Jones?
Just very, very good idea. I'm becoming a grandmother before long, and she is going to get 10 weeks of paid time from Riley Hospital. But I think 6 weeks is a good amount, and I very much like the idea.
And I will say, when developing the policy, I looked at IU's policy, Ball State, Butler, Purdue, the city's policy, a couple private policies, and it seemed like 6 to 8 was the average, so that's kind of why we settled on 6.
Yeah.
And people can also take some, if they still have like vacation time, they can add it on to that and things like that. So it doesn't limit them to just having 6 weeks off.
Correct.
That's really good.
I just wanted to say, I think that one of the things that new parents, an issue that they run into is the childcare after the fact. So we're providing them with leave, and then they are not having to exhaust their time off so that they can use that to take care of their children in the future when they need it. So we're not setting them up for failure in that way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Thank you all for working on this. Very good news. Very exciting. I think the employees will be very happy to hear about this, and I look forward to reading it, and we'll send comments, I'm sure. If it's ready for June 26th, great.
Yeah.
But it's up to all of you, and once we see it, if we have too many questions, you may say, we need to wait.
I think the
I don't
goal.
think you will.
Yep,
Okay.
I think the goal is June 26th. I think we've combed through the policy in depth, and so I think
Great.
we are pretty happy with the way it is now.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Very good. Thanks so much. Very good news. Love that. Very good. Thanks. Anything else for Mr. Cockrell, Ms. Purdy? Woohoo! All right. So yeah, so we're off for a couple of weeks, and congratulations on your son's wedding. That'll be really amazing. And Juneteenth, want to recognize that as a holiday and a really important one on our calendar. So that's great, and we will come back for June 26th. All right, without anything further, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.